Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our second Team Wyze live event. My name is Karen, and I head up recruiting here at Wyze. My pronouns are she, her, and hers. I would like to take an opportunity to introduce you to our Team Wyze live event. We use this platform to be able to help tell our Wyze stories and our employee stories. We actually have a forum, a platform that we have employee spotlights every month where people share their Wyze experience and their Wyze stories. And so now we love to have this opportunity to use our Team Wyze Live platform to be able to help share the story even more live to help people see what it's like to work at Wyze. Wyze has now grown to 350 employees globally. We're a US company. We're based here in Kirkland, Washington. We currently have over 30 requisitions that are open, over 5 core teams. We'll be celebrating our 5-year anniversary, product launch anniversary, actually, this coming October. We're best known for disrupting the marketplace for smart home tech. We started with our smart camera, and that was launched in 2017, our Wyze Cam. We're a Series B company and a Series B startup, and we have built an entire ecosystem of consumer IoT products that integrate with Alexa, Google devices, and they're all managed through our own mobile app. We're now disrupting the marketplace with our AI capabilities. So our V3 camera, which is our newest camera on our Wyze Cam product line, have features like our Cam Plus and our Cam Plus Pro, which allows users to arm and disarm their Wyze security system through their mobile app. And this patented disrupting technology, our Wyze Cam Plus Pro product, is using our Wyze Friendly Faces algorithm and recognizes expected people. We have Wyze colleagues here today who we'll be introducing shortly. And I would love the opportunity to turn this over to my friend, Kenny Wenfeng. Kenny, take it over.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Kenny. I'm a marketing manager of social and community here at Wyze, and it is great to be with you all. So excited to be doing another one of these events. I feel like it's always great to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit and get to talk to all of you about what we do here at Wyze. And I also get to have the very fun job of giving away some free stuff to all of you who are joining us and hanging out for the next roughly hour or so. Just as a way to say thank you for hanging out with us. So you're going to find a link in the description of both YouTube and LinkedIn that says to enter our giveaways. To enter the giveaways, all you have to do is fill out a quick little Google form, and you'll have the chance to win either a Wyze Bulb Color 4-pack, a Wyze Light Strip Pro 16-foot, or our grand prize Wyze Cam V3 Spotlight Bundle with 1 year free of Cam Plus Pro. We'll be randomly selecting winners from those of you who have joined us throughout the event today. We'll be announcing them towards the end of the show, just before our Q&A session. So as a way to say thank you, please feel free to fill out that form, answer just a couple questions, and you'll be automatically entered to win. With that, I'd like to hand things off to my good friend, Gwendolyn Evans, who will take things away.
Hey, everybody. I am actually one of the original employees from 2017 when we launched the Wyze Cam V1. I am a senior digital community manager here at Wyze, and my pronouns are they, them. So in my time here, I've actually had the pleasure of getting to know our special guest for today over multiple years. He's designed some of my absolute favorite Wyze products, such as my beloved color bulbs, which I'm using right now. And I'm just so excited to give you all the opportunity to get to know him as well. So, Mike Sobaski, yeah, there you are.
Yeah.
Would you like to tell us more about your role at Wyze?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the intro, and thank you everybody for joining today. As Gwen said, my name is Mike Sobaski. I'm Senior Director of Product at Wyze. I've been with the company for just over 4 years. So I was actually the first dedicated product manager that came onto the company, and it's just been an amazing time working to build out our non-camera product line. So for those of you who use our cameras and have questions about our cameras, I'm not your guy for that, but for most of our non-camera products, that's what I specialize in. I have an amazing team of PMs that I work with, along with this community team and everybody else at Wyze, to bring as many great technology products to market at too good to be true prices.
Awesome. So, as you are doing all of this amazing work, bringing these things to market at those too good to be true prices, what is your favorite thing about working at Wyze? What's keeping you here?
I mean, that's not a fair question because there's so many things that are so fun about Wyze, being able to do things like this and engage with our community. But for me, one of the things that over the last 4+ years that's been just really an amazing experience is the breadth of experiences that you get to have at Wyze. So, when I first started, I was working on Wyze Sense, our first generation of Wyze Sense, and then went straight into lighting with Wyze Bulb. And then we did, Wyze Thermostat, Wyze Sprinkler Controller, all of these like very different products back to back. And as a product manager, getting to dive into all these different categories and talk to our users and understand what their problems are and how can we build products that will help meet their needs has been a really invigorating and exciting opportunity. Just constantly the opportunity to learn and grow throughout my time at Wyze and see the company grow as well and see our community grow. It's awesome that we have so many people joining us today to hear what it's like to work at Wyze. And all I can say is it's a wild ride and it's never boring.
Golly, ain't that the truth? So we've had so much change in the time that you've been here, and we've gone from being an itty bitty tiny startup with everybody crammed into one small office to having over 350 people. And what would you say the culture we've developed along the way is like?
Well, I think I'd go back to what you said first, which is, I look back at the very early days where it was just a couple of us crammed in a tiny office with these giant ambitions of, going on and building a whole technology company up against, some of the biggest tech giants in the world. So, here's a picture of some of us, just in I think this was our second office. We were doing a little quality like tiger team, pulling some people together to tackle some problems that users had reported. And so this, the culture grows from that ownership, from this bias for action, moving with incredible speed. And so we have a lot of ownership at Wyze. Everybody at Wyze feels the sense of ownership and responsibility to deliver great products and treat our customers like friends, which those are the two main founding principles that we have at Wyze. One is treating our customers like friends. That's the core of everything that we do here. We want to really be friends with our users. And what that means is doing things like this, engaging with our user base in an authentic and transparent way. We do focus groups with customers. We do beta testing with our users. I spend more time than I can even imagine on forums, reading people's comments, reviews on Amazon and our groups, and really trying to take that feedback from all of our customers and inject it into the product as we can. And the other big core value that I really resonates with me and I think describes our culture well is the desire to make products and services that are too good to be true. And it kind of sounds weird when you say it, but it came from an early review of the original Wyze Cam, which is like, this $20 camera is too good to be true. And that first review kind of set the bar for the rest of the products that we launch. And we always strive to make products that customers are shocked by the value that they get from it. And that's the bar that we have. And we work hard to try to hit that. And so that does mean that we have a culture where we strive and we push ourselves and, we have high ambitions and, we try to work as a team to always hit that bar, but it's a high one for us to always work towards.
I just heard so much that is near and dear to my heart, especially as a community manager. Thank you for being active in our areas. We really appreciate it and love seeing you around. So that was a whole lot about the culture at Wyze in general. Would you like to tell us a bit more about your specific team dynamic with all of the product managers? What is that like?
Yeah. So product management at Wyze, as I kind of alluded to earlier, is we're broken into a couple different teams. On the product team, we have a couple main orgs. So we have our services team that work on things like Karen mentioned, Cam Plus Pro, and our home monitoring service. They're part of the teams that are building out facial detection and all these other great services that get layered on top of our products that make them even better. We also have a platform team that work on a lot of the features that cut across our platform. I see in the comments a lot of people talking about, dark mode. That's something that the platform team would own because it cuts across the entire platform. And so they have a huge roadmap as we try to build the infrastructure of the Wyze app and of our ecosystem to support all these new products. And then what I work on is our kind of the core product team. So we have our camera team and then our non-cam team. And so within the non-camera team, that's what we're focusing on. We build and support all of the products outside of cameras. And that's everything from lighting and power, sensors, our home environment categories. And so we're a pretty small group within the company, actually, of the non-camera team. But we have, again, really high ambitions, and we work really hard to try to bring products to our customers.
Mike, seeing all of the photos that Kenny had shared and kind of bringing back some of the stories and memories that we have early on, I remember, I think at one of our I think it was our 1 million user party. You were emceeing the event because you had shared, you also hit your 1-year anniversary at Wyze, and you had launched the Wyze Sense. And you were talking about how you remember when you were interviewing for the role here at Wyze, that Dongsheng, our CPO, had shared, hey, Mike, you're going to be launching this Wyze Sense product in 3 months. And so, that journey, seeing you, test the product and go through everything. Can you talk a little bit about how product management works at Wyze versus other companies?
Yeah. It was, it's something that we've been evolving and growing because as a startup, that's part of the fun. That's one of the fun aspects of working at a startup is there's not some, perfect playbook that has been ironed out over the last 20 years and all you do is execute. No, it's at Wyze we're actually building this playbook as we go. And so product development at Wyze has been quite the journey from, as you said, in the early days, we'd start a project and we think we could deliver it in maybe 3 to 6 months. And, there was just so much we didn't know back then that we know now. And so we've really grown and developed and matured as a company. And with that, our product development process, there's a couple of different phases within it. And, I think the first one is our concept phase where we work with our community to try to come up with ideas of what are the products and services that they want, what do we want to build? And how does that fit in with our goals and our ecosystem? We do a lot of focus groups. We go into community, we read a lot of people's comments and look at where the market's going and where technology's going. That's really driven by the PM. And then we move into our planning phase, which is where we're working on requirements. We take a broad idea and now we're defining the product requirement documents. We're working with engineers to spec everything out and make sure that we actually know how to deliver this. Can we actually build this at the price that we want? And then once we get all of the work planned out, we go into the development phase. That's kind of where it's, the product is actually being made now. We have engineers working on hardware. We're working with our ODMs overseas to actually manufacture the products, firmware, software, cloud. All of these teams are working on the product. And then at the end of that, we get to our testing phase where we do some internal testing. We do a lot of internal testing. We have our QA teams look at it. And then we also send stuff out to our community through our beta testing program, where I'm sure Gwen can talk more about as well. But we work on the beta testing with our community, get all their ideas and feedback. And then finally, once the product's ready, we work with our community and our marketing teams to send it out to the world. And that's just the beginning because then we've launched it. And as a product manager, you don't just launch something, you then sustain it, you work on it, you give new features and improvements and update firmware and all those types of things. So it's a fun process, it's a long process, but it's one that you get to see the results at the end of it. You have a product out in the market and our community gets to see it.
Thank you, Mike. You had described the entire life cycle of product development and product management. Another like story, because I feel like you've been with Wyze since the very beginning, and we're going to be celebrating our 5-year anniversary. So there's so many different stages that you have gone through. And I remember during the pandemic, one of the videos that you created was in your house, and you had shown, and it wasn't just a video. I think it was a music video memorabilia of like just all the Wyze products in your home. And it was kind of also a sneak peek into a product that you were testing that currently is launched, which we love. We love all of our videos where we kind of give people sneak peeks of what's to come. And you were testing some of the products. Do you want to kind of share a little bit more about product management and just the passion of building products and telling the story?
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're just the video you're describing is I literally was just at home one night, and this was a pretty early in the pandemic, like you said, and I don't know what it was, but I just looked around. I was beta testing lots of products at that time. We were working on Wyze light strips, and I was, I was syncing all the lights in my house. My Wyze bulbs, every bulb in my house is a Wyze bulb, obviously, and Wyze light strips, and they were all syncing to the music. And I was like, this is really cool. This is a cool experience. And then I just saw all of the Wyze products around my home, and it's full of Wyze products. They're everywhere. And I was like, that's amazing. We built this. Like, we built all of this over the last just like 3 or 4 years. And so I think what that really represents is the fact that PMs at Wyze and really everybody, no matter where you are, we're just obsessed with delivering results and building products. And there's a huge amount of ownership that comes with it, because while yes, now we're at 350 people, so which seems like huge compared to back in the day when it was maybe 20 or 30 of us, we have ownership from the end to end. So I mean, going like this was one of my first trips to China with Wyze, where I was going to the production line with our sourcing manager, and we were literally at the factory looking at the products, making sure that things looked good, doing inspections and things like that. And so there's the sense of, you do what it takes to deliver results, and you own the whole thing from beginning to end. And one of the big things that makes Wyze unique from a product management perspective, maybe from some other companies, is that we don't have like a big project management organization here. And so what that means is, as a product manager, you don't just sit down and like write a beautiful document about what a product could be and then pass it off to a different team to go execute. No, at Wyze, like if you have an idea, you have your idea, you write your document, but then you also bring it, all the way through the life cycle, and you work with all of the different teams and all the different stakeholders to get it to your end customer. And that sense of ownership and that responsibility makes you feel so proud when you see that product hit the market, in a way that I think if you are at a larger company or some other companies where maybe you don't have that same autonomy and that sense of ownership, you might not get quite that same level of, at least for me, that same level of pride that makes you want to like make a weird music video at night.
Thank you so much for sharing, Mike. Yeah.
I think that's actually kind of a perfect segue into my next question for you, Mike. I want to bring back up the product development kind of process and roadmap here. Music videos aside, in your opinion, how much of this kind of journey would you say that a lot of our PMs have? Like, which parts of these are they really taking ownership of?
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think it's easy when we talk about being a PM, and it's easy to talk about ownership because a PM is the ultimate product owner for the product, but that does not mean in any way that they're doing the work for all these different phases. There's no way that one person could bring a product to market by themselves. So I think it's a great question, Kenny. So the PM really is driving the concept and planning phases. They are the one who are defining what the product is, who is our target customer, how will it be used. A big part of being a PM is deciding what we're not doing. It's really hard to say no to certain features or certain ideas, especially when our community wants them. But sometimes, you have to prioritize. And so that's the PM's job, to figure out what can we deliver. But then outside of that phase, once you go to the development phase, we have an engineering team. We have, a lot of different devs that help us. We have technical product managers as well. And so as a PM during that development phase, that's where you kind of flex into the project management a little bit more. You're making sure that we're on track on the timeline, going into Jira, cutting tickets and cutting bugs, making sure things are getting to the engineers and getting solved quickly. And then I think a ton of kudos and credit to our marketing and community team here, because the whole go-to-market strategy is just so incredibly driven by this team. And it's, as a product manager, you work on a product for so long, and then you kind of pass it off to your marketing team, and you get to see all of the sudden it grow up and look so professional with great photos and videos. That our marketing team makes the most hilarious videos, and so you're involved, but that's really more as an observer and just helping chime in if there's questions about the product or things like that.
Yeah, that's super cool. I think one of my favorite sayings that I like to use whenever I talk to anybody that's interested in Wyze is the fact that we get to wear so many different hats, right? Whether it's in a product development kind of life cycle, or when it comes to marketing and community management, I'm quite literally split between two lanes all the time. And it's the most chaotic, amazing, beautiful thing, just being able to have direct, literal ownership of so much of our product journey. Speaking of products, I do want to take this opportunity to plug our giveaway one more time here. We are giving away some free products, many of which Mike has directly had a hand in himself, of course. We do this on purpose. So we have our Wyze Bold Color 4-pack, Wyze Light Strip Pro 16-foot, as well as the Wyze Cam V3 Spotlight Bundle, plus a full year of Cam Plus Pro for free. To enter, get your name in the hat, all you have to do is check out the YouTube description down below. You'll see a link to a Google form. Fill it out, answer a couple quick questions, and we'll be drawing those towards the end of the stream. With that, I will hand things off back to my bestie, Gwen.
Hey. So I also want to be talking about products, but I guess that's why we're literally all here. That in recruiting, right? So Mike, you've been talking about working with all of these diverse teams, and one that I would love to hear more about is, what is your experience like working with our manufacturers, the ODMs, and managing those conversations between all of these different teams in different time zones?
Yeah. It's I think there's two components to your question. One is what is it like to work with a diverse group of ODMs, because we work with many different partners to bring our, all of these different products to life. And that's one of the things that I really enjoy, because every project that you work on, every product and every new team that you work with, at least for me, I've been able to learn so much. So from a career perspective, I feel like I've grown so much more at Wyze than anywhere else before. Going to China with these are some of our co-founders that I tagged along with the first China trip, and you get to go visit them and go to the factories and learn a ton from them, and so that's really been a fun and engaging part of the job. And as you mentioned, we do have regular calls with them. So I'm based in Seattle, but I work really closely. We have a team in Shenzhen, and then we also have our the factories that we work with. And so generally 1 to 2 nights a week, I'll have some calls with China, and that it's. If you work in delivering, hardware, you're going to have probably some of those meetings. And there are times where it goes a little bit later, depending where we are in that product development process, right? Or if we're running into issues, sometimes you have to jump on the phone and, work late until you get it fixed. But the really good thing is that we have a lot of flexibility at Wyze. So there's, if I'm up late one night working on it, I'm not worried about trying to make sure that I'm logged into Slack and moving my mouse at 9 a.m. I've never done that, because that's just not the culture we have here. Nobody's monitoring oh, when are you on? Because we all know that we have different requirements for our job. We talk and work with different people. And so there's that flexibility, which I really appreciate as well.
Yeah, that's super cool. And I think that actually is a great segue for us to talk about some of the ways that we support our PMs, and honestly, everybody here at Wyze, with that ownership that we really do encourage everyone to take with them to work every day. So Karen, do you want to talk to us a little bit about some of the benefits that we offer?
Yes, absolutely. So we strive to improve our benefits annually, and every year we have improved our benefits. In 2020, we combined our PTO with our sick time, because our sick time before wouldn't roll over. And so we wanted to give our people more flexibility. So we combined our PTO and sick time, and we came up with 24 days of PTO a year that people can accrue and take. And people have asked me, why don't you just give unlimited time off at that point in time? Because you're accruing almost like a day of PTO per paycheck, because we have 26 pay periods. And, what we have shared is data has shown, because we did consider it, but data has shown that people who have unlimited time off actually take less time off. And so therefore we felt that it was better to have a PTO system so that way people feel that they are able to take time off. And we also have 12 paid holidays, so 8 fixed holidays and 4 floating holidays to give people more flexibility and options, among other benefits as well. We have a 401k option, as well as medical, dental, and vision that's covered and paid for. Every anniversary you have with Wyze, you receive an additional day. So Mike, once you hit your 5 years, you receive 5 PTO days. So I think this year you got 4. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's exciting. It's a lot of time off for people to enjoy with family, plan trips, or just to have, a staycation.
Yeah, I love that. Thanks so much for sharing some light on that, Karen. I remember actually just a couple of weeks ago, manager Jimmy, shout out to him, he's actually in Europe right now, of all places, super jealous. He was actually having a conversation with me to tell me to take PTO because I hit the cap, which is already a very high cap compared to some other places that I've worked with, before. And so he literally told me, book some PTO, use that time, rest, recharge, you've been doing too much. And I think that really, speaks to a lot of the ways that, we encourage our product team members, Mike, too, to take their time off and come back to work feeling refreshed and ready to hit the ground running again.
Yeah, and we support each other as well through that, right? Because, when you're working at Wyze and trying to deliver product and when you're working in any like time-bound project, it can feel stressful, right? To be like, oh, how am I going to slip away? I've got all this I want to deliver. But that's what's great is we have a really supportive team. So Kenny, I'm sure that while Jimmy's gone, I'm sure you're covering a lot of his work. And similar with my team, I also had somebody who recently did a Europe vacation on my team. He was out for 3 weeks actually, and so I covered all of his meetings and made sure his project was moving forward. All he had to do was send me pictures so I could live vicariously, through him and pretend like I was also in Europe. But yeah, we support each other, and I think that's really important as well. So that way you can use and enjoy your PTO.
As we're talking about all of these stories about vacations, I kind of bring it back to product management again, because I know that a lot of people want to hear more about your stories, Mike. And one of the things that I think about is, and I fortunately was in the office last time I saw you recently, is also prototyping, I feel like, because you had made a trip to Home Depot and there's a future product that's probably going to come out where you are building the prototype for that. I mean, that's some mad skills.
I don't know if I would call it mad skills, but it was fun.
But I'm sure there's other products that you have built as well, kind of, thinking and designing. What do you feel has been the skill that you've learned working at Wyze? I
mean, we could do a full hour on that because I have learned so much while being at Wyze. I came to Wyze. I'm not an engineer by trade, so I didn't have like an electrical engineering background. I've always obviously loved tech and worked in it. I'd done product management at Amazon, but coming to Wyze was a whole new experience. And so I've got to learn a ton on the technical side of what it means to make products. I've worked really closely with our engineering teams, so shout out to them for all the support that they've had, and learning to work with work on everything from the hardware to also being able to understand and talk with engineers about the cloud and firmware, and having a more well-rounded out understanding of how all of this comes together has been really a fun and rewarding part of the job. I obviously, like, there's the project management and coordination components of how do you take an idea and turn it into a product. Like there's not really a clear playbook for it. And so figuring out how to do that, onboarding with us with different tools, prototyping products. Like, yeah, this is the original Wyze lock. We were 3D printing different designs and looking at different colors. Thankfully, we didn't make some of those decisions. But it's amazing to get to go through it and just learn. And part of it is kind of like playing, because you are just prototyping different things, and it's such a fun and engaging process. The last thing I'd say is I've learned a lot about what it takes to build an organization and a company, right? Everybody at Wyze is responsible not only for their job, but also for like contributing to the growth of the company. We're still a startup, we're still growing and learning. And so everybody who comes is responsible for that. And so it's been really interesting to see what's it take to, make a tech company successful. And, thankfully we have a ton of really smart and talented people. And so it's just been really cool to get to be a part of that.
It does sound really cool, but I'm going to poke at a thing. What are the best and worst parts of the product development process? Because you're making it all sound so shiny and awesome, and give me that dirt.
Oh, so even the worst parts have some things that are great there. I think the obviously the best part is when the best part is when you're actually seeing the product in the market, right? Like that's always so much fun, getting to see customers use it and getting to hear their feedback. And then, kind of doing the core product development where you basically are collecting all this feedback and then prioritizing. You groom your backlog, you make a list of all the features and you start scheduling them and just start delivering. And that feeling when you're able to, deliver a firmware update and launch a feature that customers love feels great. To be honest, like I actually spent all of today working on all of the new features that we're going to launch for Wyze Thermostat for the next 6 months. And it was so fun to get to like define all this. And I read through almost every review and, we were just kind of prioritizing and writing requirements of what this is going to be. I love that. I would say the worst part is probably about the same, which is going through and reading all of the 1-star reviews for your product. It hurts. It hurts because that customers are having an issue, right? And every product has issues. That's a reality. So I think that's both the best part and the worst part is knowing and understanding all the areas that you have you get opportunities to improve, and then planning it and knocking it out as you go.
Well, I think actually, talking about some of those one-star reviews and our efforts on quality there, I think that actually is a nice segue into some of our core values, right? We really talk about being an entrepreneur and taking that ownership to spin up initiatives to, resolve those customer issues. Which of these core values that we have at Wyze is kind of your favorite? Can you tell us a little bit about why?
Yeah. I think I already spoke a lot about being friends with users and being too good to be true. And I think those would be the obvious ones, but because those are to me the very much the founding core ones. But I would say the one that I definitely resonates as a product manager that we have to find ways to do, which is maximizing every component, which might not be the most obvious what this means, but the idea is as a company that wants to deliver amazing value to customers, and as a startup, we have to make the most out of every dollar or every penny we put in a product. And for every dollar that we spend on anything, we have to make the most of it and make sure that's delivering as much value to customers as possible. And so that's one that really resonates with me because there's a constant question of, is it worth it? How do we squeeze more features out of a limited processor, right? Like how can we push things to their limit and make sure that we are doing as much as we can to keep prices low for our users and make sure that the technology that we're building is accessible to as large a pool of customers as possible. Because, for me, I've always said one of the reasons why I actually joined Wyze was the vision of making technology accessible. I love the idea of, making really cool cutting edge tech, but great technology doesn't matter unless it's accessible and people are using it. And so I think that, by focusing on maximizing every component, we can try to make that technology work for the widest population possible, which to me really resonates as a job of a product manager.
So I guess you already answered why you chose Wyze, unless you would like to add on your answer about accessibility, which thank you. So what's keeping you here these years later? You've done so much around here. What's sticking you with Wyze?
I just feel like there still is so much more to do. I'm reading the comments here and seeing people, asking mopping features and attachments for robot vacuum, asking for dark mode. It's like, I can't leave. There still is so much work to do and so many more features our customers want. Like, I feel a sense of responsibility that I want to be able to do as much of these as possible for our users. And like that's the truth. Like there still is so much more work to be done, and we have an awesome team, right? Like it was so fun in the early days, being able to work with just a couple of us and hack our way to growth. Like that was so fun. But now we have a team that can support us, and we can start to do things that used to feel impossible. And so seeing the organization grow, seeing all these new amazing people we've brought in, and knowing that the results of that are going to be more, better products, delivered features for our customers that they want, like it's really fulfilling. And so I don't know like what other company, what other job can really give you that same sense of satisfaction.
Well, I actually do want to highlight one of these comments from YouTube here that I think actually really drives home that point, Mike. This one says, I can honestly say that you guys live out, be friends with our users. I'm proud to share why I love your guys' product so much with friends and family, as if a friend of mine created it. And that's exactly what we try and do every single day. That gives me all the warm and fuzzies, the goosebumps on my arms. Which brings me to my next question that will kind of round out us here on the show before we get to our Q&A and our giveaway drawing. Which is, what is your Wyze superpower? I'll kind of start and take this one first here. I think for me, it's, connection with people, right? Whether it's through events like this or through all of our social platforms. So what Mike was just saying, I think that we really are empowered to take ownership of, the experience that we create for all of you as if you were our best friends that we text every day. Checking in how your products are doing for you, how they're making your life better. And it's even sometimes if they're making your life worse, that way we can get ahead of those things. Because what happens, we want to make sure that we're there for you. And so I think that's really my superpower that I've been able to grow and develop with the support of Gwen, every day on my direct team, but also through Karen and Mike, and all of their hard work and the hard work that everybody at Wyze does. So okay, we'll kind of do a popcorn here. I'll hand it to Mike, and then we'll go kind of around the horn.
That was good. So this is a good question. I think I would say like mine probably is tied into two ends. It's like I'm constantly trying to ask questions about not just about what to do next, but I'm when Gwen or Kenny or anybody from our community team passes customer feedback to me or anything like that, I always try to take it one layer deeper, and like that's one of the questions is if people are asking for a feature, what is the root cause, and how trying to dig deeper and ask those questions and make sure that we're getting to the thing that customers fundamentally want and finding ways to deliver that, even if it's in a creative way. And then working with our internal teams, right? And just, constantly asking questions to our marketing team and to our tech team, trying to push the organization and make sure that we're always delivering as much value for the users as quickly as possible. So, I love being able to be in that position where you can ask everybody questions and trying to, I'm also never afraid to be that one to ask a dumb question, which is my personal favorite, thing to do. Because then oftentimes you'll find people like, oh yeah, we haven't thought of doing it that way. So I'll pass it over then to Karen. What's your superpower?
Oh, actually, so Kenny and I have similar superpowers. I love connecting with people, and not just our internal teams, but also being able to connect with people that want to join Wyze, and finding talent in unique places and helping people make the decision to join Wyze. Because sometimes joining a startup to some people can be a little bit scary. And by sharing stories like that, Mike has, and that Kenny has, and Gwen has, it really helps people recognize that it's not so scary to join a startup. And by having these type of platforms helps us get to connect with more people and getting to know more people. So it's connecting in different ways. So that's me.
I'm going to steal the popcorn from Karen because I'm impatient. And also, I want to say that I've been watching the comments come in through the software that we're using, so I'm not replying directly in there, but oh my gosh, guys, you're melting my heart. And last time we did one of these, I talked about my superpower being empathy. Feels a little cheaty to be recycling it, so I think that my secondary Wyze superpower is probably pushing back. And there are probably some people inside the company who are just like, ugh, the worst. But there are a lot of times where my primary part of my career is being the voice of the customer. I spend many hours of every day in our Facebook groups, over on our Discord, over in our forums, over on Center Code, and my goal at all times is to make the best experience that I can for all of you. And sometimes that involves me sitting in a meeting being like, hey, I really like what you're going for here. It sounds super cool, but I have concerns about these areas. Before we move forward with this, can we please address these and make sure that we improve the experience for these kinds of edge cases that I know for a fact are going to come up?
I feel like you're talking directly at me right now, Gwen.
Sometimes I go over to Mike and go, Mike, what are you doing?
I love that. That's always a fun question to kind of round out the show here. But we're not done yet. I promise we've been keeping an eye on the chat. I've been collecting some of your questions, and we're going to go through a few of them. And don't worry, we haven't forgotten. We will be announcing the winners of our giveaway for the Wyze Gold Color Light Strip Pro, as well as the Wyze Cam V3 bundle at the very end of the show, just after we answer a couple of your questions. So stay tuned for that. This one I think will be a great one for Karen to start us off with. Do you hire people working remote from Canada?
We actually do have the ability to have people work from Canada remotely at Wyze. We actually partner with a third-party company. So it's not directly a full-time employment through Wyze, but we do have the ability to work with a third-party vendor to have you work at Wyze. So definitely connect with me or connect with someone on our team, and we'd be more than happy to talk more about that.
Awesome. And while we have you, Karen, how does the onboarding process look like for remote employees? And can you talk a little bit about what training might be like? I know that might differ from team to team.
It does differ from team to team. I think that our people team does an amazing job with being able to connect with people to be able to make sure that managers have the resources to onboard people. So there's a couple different teams. Like, for example, I know the product team, actually, Mike, you probably want to answer the question for the product side, but I'll plug in really quick. Like, I know for our software developers, everyone goes through boot camp, and every manager designs their own boot camp to be able to get everyone to be familiar with our development environment. And so we recognize that people need time to ramp up, and no matter what level you're at. And so we develop and design these boot camps to get people to join. Now, Mike, I know you have some opportunities on your team as well. So do you want to talk a little bit about the onboarding for your team?
Yeah. So thanks for the shout out. We have an open headcount right now for a product manager on the non-camera team. So we are hiring. So please do reach out if you're interested. The onboarding process in the product management org is going to be, as Karen said, depends on who your manager is in your team. For us, we have kind of a checklist and a workbook of kind of all of the things that you need to do to get started on day one. And that takes you through probably about your first week or so. And then it's, for me, whenever I'm onboarding somebody to my team, I work really closely with them. So, I make sure that they're shadowing me for the first, calls. I'll join most of their meetings. And we do this kind of slow transition where we slowly transition the product over to them and make sure that they feel supported and have the things that they need to be successful. And I want to give a huge shout out to Shani on my team, because when she joined, she even recognized, she was like, hey, we need to do more onboarding, more stuff. And so she's been taking it on as one of her projects as well to help improve that. And so, it's an evolving process as always, but we have a team and we really kind of rally around each new hire and make sure that they feel supported, because there's a lot to learn.
I love the word that you used, rally, because I do feel that is kind of part of our culture. Is we are here to support and to help each other out no matter what team you're at. I see a lot of cross-team collaboration as well.
Gwen, do you actually want to try and share a little bit about that question too? Because I know that you definitely wear so many hats, and you were actually directly responsible for my onboarding getting close to 2 years ago now, which is kind of crazy to say. But do you want to talk about maybe from your perspective what that was like too?
Well, when we did your onboarding, I was the proud papa. So my onboarding is kind of a mix of things, because there's two major portions for working on the community team. There is the community management portion, so doing the direct replies to customers. And if you're in a community space as opposed to one of our marketing channels like Instagram or something, then you're going to be interacting with customers who are interacting together. And so that has a lot of job shadowing. I have people write out replies that they would be writing following their instincts, and then I give them feedback about that, and we adjust things and give them more experience. And as time goes on, I start setting them free more and more. And when we are looking at other things, so we've been developing SOPs for like if there's an outage or if there is a major event, like somebody has a heat event with a product, or over in the center code area where I'm heavily involved with all of our beta testing stuff, we have a lot of information about, well, here's how you do a recruiting call out, here's how you do your onboarding and things like that. So we have a mixture of documentation, but a lot of what we do on our team is just so diverse that we end up doing a lot of job shadowing, and our ratio is more that direction.
Awesome. Yeah. Like I said, we wear so many different hats too, but we definitely want to make sure that all of our team members feel supported in their immediate core work, and then kind of set the birds free and, really find work that suits your strengths. And I can definitely attest to that as well. We're still going to go through a couple more of these questions here with just about 8 minutes or so left before you wrap up. Let's go through, actually, I think this is a great one to highlight. Let's talk about some of our diversity and inclusion at Wyze. Karen, do you want to start us off there?
Yes, absolutely. So when we first started, I remember I had asked our CHRO, I was like, should we put together like a DEI like overview and all these things? And she said something that was really great, which is, we want to make sure that we're very purposeful about diversity, equity, and inclusion. And so instead of creating a whole new like statement or anything like that, we have worked through and included our DEI efforts into our core values and making sure that people feel included and that there's equity into hearing people's voices. So definitely that's been something that our team, the people team, has been working on, and we continue to work towards trainings and building. It's definitely something that's not finished yet. It's something that we work on every day, and hopefully the team here feels and sees the differences by every day, every event that we have, initiative that we have, that there's DEI thought of in those events and initiatives.
Yeah, I love it. I think it's definitely super important to make sure that everybody here at Wyze and that we work with every day feels like they can come to work being their best selves. And I definitely feel that on my team especially too. And I think Gwen and Jimmy, really helped foster me into such a warm and welcoming environment where, I didn't have to think twice about, certain things that I might feel uncomfortable about in other workplaces as well too. So I definitely want to give my hats off to you, Karen, and, everybody here at Wyze for really just that culture that we help promote every day. I think it would be great to kind of go through some of the current openings that we have as well. This is a recruiting event after all. So we did see a couple of questions. So let's just kind of recap, if we can, some of the current opportunities. And Karen, if you actually want to give a quick shout out for where folks can find the full listings as well, full list of opportunities.
Absolutely. The full list can be found at wyze.com/careers, and that's where you can apply as well. So we have core teams that are currently looking to hire for. So Mike's team on our product team, he's got openings available. We also have a product manager, a senior product manager opening for our camera product line as well. And we have a product manager for our scale. So I believe all in all, we've got about 4 product manager openings on our product team. Part of product also includes research. So we're also in the process of interviewing, recruiting for a senior UX researcher. This is a great opportunity. You get to work directly with the services team, and it's an opportunity for someone to really help us mature our research here at Wyze. And we also have a UI designer opportunity. And we have several product designers and designers on our A&R team. So marketing, sales, and our e-commerce team. But this is pretty unique. It's in our product design team as a UI designer. It's our first. We have several technical opportunities open on our tech team. So senior software engineers in cloud, AI, we have DevOps, mobile development, as well as firmware. Super exciting. We don't always have these opportunities open. So, we're expanding, we're growing. If you want to make an impact on software SDK, or, you're using our products and you think that you feel that you can really make an impact on building software and improving software, we're definitely the opportunity. Our team here is in the US. So it's very exciting. We also have a senior FP&A role on our finance team. And so we are building our FP&A team as well. So Ron is the hiring manager for that. He's absolutely amazing to work with, and I'm really excited to see him build out his team. So those are the core teams that are hiring.
Awesome. Yeah. So again, that website is wyze.com/careers to check out our full roster of open opportunities. I have a question here from Natalie that I'd love to hand off to you, Mike. Natalie asked, what would get our resume looked at from the piles you receive, looking to apply to a product manager role?
Well, I'll give a crack at it, and then Karen probably would also be even more qualified to answer. For me, when I go through resumes, I'm obviously looking for, it depends on the role. Right now, if it's a more senior role, we're looking for somebody who generally does have product manager experience. And some of the quick things that I really look for, both on the resume and then just from people in general, is being able to have actually delivered something. Not just had an idea, but being able to deliver it and seeing results is really important. Being able to show that you've worked with a group of people, right, and influence. We talked a lot about how we work with so many different folks, and so being able to show that as well, that you are, a collaborative worker, you can influence others and make sure that you can, drive your product and get it through completion. Those are both really important. Karen, I'd love to hear more though from the recruiting side, since you look at more resumes than I do at first. What do you look for?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. There's different stages and different opportunities that we have open, right? Specifically for product managers, we actually have summer internship opportunities as well. Right at this very moment, our opportunities that we're seeking for full-time are senior product managers. So for our recruiting team, one of the things that we look for is the experience, because some of the things that Mike had shared early on, being able to run through the entire product management life cycle of building a product and launching a product. One thing that I really appreciate when we are through the interview process, that we always tell candidates, it's okay if your product failed. We love to hear that, because we like to be able to hear what you learned through that experience. So that way, we can see that you're going to be applying that experience differently and how you would do it differently. So whenever we're interviewing people, we're never looking for like a perfect story or anything like that. What we're looking for is what their journey was like, what they learned from it. And I feel that of all the companies that I've ever been with and heard interview process with, Wyze, I feel like it's just such a nice interview process. And when we look for things, we look more for the soft skills as well. So definitely there's hard skills that we look for as far as experience goes on launching products. And then we do look for, people that are flexible, entrepreneurial, people that are able to work with a team, because you're going to work together and collaborate with multiple teams. I think Kenny, Mike, and Gwen and myself, we've all worked together on different projects before and different initiatives. And also I've seen them work with engineering teams, tech teams. So our finance teams. So there's always an opportunity to cross collaborate. So hopefully that helps answer that question.
That was great, Karen. One more for potential applicants. This question from Jonathan. Do you have to live near a certain city to work for Wyze? Now, I remember in one of our previous events, you were able to list off all of the states where we accept remote work from. We're going to quiz you on that again here.
Sounds good. So yes, pretty much everyone here at Wyze is working remotely, and it just so happens that our headquarters is here in Kirkland, and so therefore a majority of our employees are in the Kirkland metropolitan area, but everyone is working remotely from that area. So the states that we are able to have remote employees outside of Washington would include Oregon, California, Utah, Texas, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Kentucky. So those are the 7 additional states outside of Washington where we can have remote employees.
Okay, can we get you to do that in a speed run?
Time me.
It's right there. We're all set up for it.
That is amazing. You never cease to impress. That is incredible. Alrighty, well, I think we are just about at time here. And I think we just have one more piece of unfinished business. If I remember correctly, we're giving away a couple of prizes. Those are the Wyze Bulb Color 4-pack, the Wyze Light Strip Pro 16-foot, as well as the Wyze Cam V3 Spotlight Bundle with 1 year of Cam Plus Pro. Now, giveaway entries are closed. We are about to wrap up here, so it is too late to try and enter. But we do have our winners selected. So if we can get like a virtual drum roll, some drum emojis in the chats, we can announce our winners. So thank you all of you for joining us. We hope you learned something new. We hope that you're excited about what we're doing here at Wyze. And we just want to say thanks for all of you who are hanging out with us. So without further ado, congratulations to, if it'll come up here on the screen, there we go. Gary S., you've won the Wyze Bulb Color 4-pack. J.A., you have won the Wyze Light Strip Pro 16-foot. And Andres S. from Colorado, you have won the Wyze Cam bundle. So congratulations to all of you. We'll be contacting you via email if you've won to collect some further details from you. And thank you all again so much for joining us here on Team Wyze Live. Again, if you are interested in any of the open opportunities that we have to join our team, please head over to wyze.com/careers and apply. Get in touch with us if you have any questions at all. Shoot our recruiting team an email. They're always happy to answer any questions that you might have. With that, any final words from the awesome team here?
I would say thanks for having me today. For any other folks who are interested in product management, either at Wyze or just generally, feel free to also reach out on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer any questions about my experiences being a product manager. And thank you, Karen, Kenny, and Gwendolyn for inviting me today.
Thank you all, team. It's great. Love seeing y'all.
No date for the 3.0 app release. We might do that piecemeal. If you have something that you want to see from a product, please make sure you put it over in our wish list at forums.wyzecam.com/c/wishlist. Vote for the things that you want to see. This is not the right place for that, but we do want to hear from you. And we did try beta testing a mopping attachment for the Wyze Robot Vacuum, and that did not meet our quality bars. So we're not looking at that right this second, but it is potentially on the table. Have a great day, and thank you for coming and hanging out with us.
We'll see you next time in September.
Gwen is the best. All right, thank you so much, everybody. We will see you next time right here on Team Wyze Live. Thanks for hanging out with us.